Prince Andrew, Jeffrey Epstein the Fixer, and mutual support? Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is enjoying their day. Please subscribe and like the video before continuing. The massive release of millions of documents and brought an image of Prince Andrew who seemed to act in a rather unbecoming way. He seemed to crawl around on the floor. Oh, and not to mention a woman lying there as well. But perhaps folks should rather be looking into his activity planner. Read on to find out why. Epstein's lunch date. In September 2010, he was serving as a British trade representative. As one would expect, he juggled his appointment list, which, one might argue, is commonplace. However, the tie-in with Epstein might raise red flags apart from his odd foray on the floor. One of the messages within the pile of documents seems particularly interesting. According to, Andrew arranged for Epstein to dine with him at Buckingham Palace. Notably, it was all about a private meetup. Additionally, it happened in 2010, shortly after was released from house arrest. Well, it seems the meeting either never happened, or possibly ended up postponed. And, the flexibility of it all seems rather odd. Apparently, it conflicted with the time for another meetup. And, that involved a Saudi prince and a secret intelligence firm. A conflicting intelligence meeting. Apparently using BP to refer to, Andrew suggested they have dinner. Plus, he told Jeffrey Epstein, "Delighted for you to come here to BP. Come with whomever and I'll be here free from 1600-ish to 2000. Now, if you think about it, that invitation timing and conversation raises some rather awkward questions. For example, the meeting was likely with Prince Mohammed bin Nawaf, the Saudi ambassador. Hosted him at the palace on September 25, 2010, just days before the Epstein invite. A baffled royal? While mainstream media focuses on labeling Andrew as a baffled royal, really that seems rather simplified. After all, here we have with a job that gave him access to the highest levels of power across much of the world. And yet, he juggles a Middle Eastern power player and a shadowy intelligence firm, with a convicted sex offender. The connections with his job and associated high-profile folk seems as if he used Epstein as a royal fixer. A fixer might open doors that most people couldn't enter. And as pointed out, Epstein even discussed getting reporters to investigate victims. Andrew under pressure. When the news surfaced in 2011, Andrew seemed pressured by allegations of underage intimacy. Now, you might know that Jeffrey only really became hot news in 2014. But, it was known that the press first found the photos way before that. In fact, in March 2011, Andrew knew they were prepared to publish them. He'd expressed his concern to Epstein, writing, "I can't take any more of this." So, that perhaps they should get reporters to look into the alleged victims, noting the idea that Buckingham Palace would love that. Vetting and security ghosted by Andrew. That evening in 2010, Andrew did more than offer access to the highest seat of the royal family. What stands out most? An open invitation followed with the words, "Bring anyone you choose." Clearly, Andrew avoided the usual protocols regarding. Actually, the red flags are there. After all, the identity of the person wasn't on the table. And, that's a head-scratcher given that he invited Epstein, a convicted predator, into the home with no apparent background check for his companion/s. Travel and schedules. Next, it's worth taking a look at the various travel details. At the time, Epstein had already arrived. And, it seems that Andrew returned from Scotland later in the day. From the discussions, it seems that Andrew had possibly planned to cut his trip short just to hook up with someone oming straight after an intelligence meeting with a Saudi prince. One has to wonder what they might have discussed. Some sort of middleman? Who ran that intelligence operation? Well, it could be almost anyone. After all, there are intelligence agencies that might be private, not necessarily government employees. Or, it might have been about folks. Perhaps it's not so much about crawling around females on the floor, but the fact that it seems increasingly as if Andrew was a sort of middleman facilitator, a man with a rather busy schedule. Plus, was Epstein some sort of fixer for Andrew's problems? The fixer. Possibly, it fits a proverb attributed to a Roman philosopher named Seneca the Younger. Scholars think he wrote the pumpkinification of Claudius. In it, readers saw a proverb that translated to read, "One hand washes the other." It's also used by South African Zulu folks who say, "Hands wash each other." In other words, if Epstein was the fixer, well, Andrew, on the other hand, was seemingly feeding off the sex offender's mutual support. What are your thoughts? Sound off in the comments below, and come back here for all our royal family.